In this video, you're going to learn how to set performance objectives as an athlete. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. Now before we get into the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are an athlete looking to improve your mental game, because I put out new videos each day on sports psychology and mental training. Now, performance objectives are things that you're going to focus on during a performance. Performance objectives are very important because they keep your focus on the process. They keep you from thinking too much about the outcome. I use performance objectives with every single athlete I work with, and the reason is because they work very well. Because when you start to think too much about the outcome, that's going to drive fear of failure, that can drive performance anxiety, that can drive perfectionism, and overall what we see is that it actually lowers your performance. Instead, you want to be focusing more on the process. By focusing more on the process, number one, you are controlling your attention, so you're not thinking too much about the outcome. But what also happens when you focus more on the process is that you actually tend to perform better because you are giving more attention to the present moment. And the outcome is made up of many present moments, right? Many little pieces that are part of your process. And so if you gave every single one of those pieces more focus and attention, that's going to give you a better chance of getting the outcome that you want. I was working with an athlete and I used the example of a puzzle versus pieces. You don't want to focus on the completed puzzle. You want to focus on the small pieces that get put together and make up the completed puzzle. So for you, this is going to involve setting some objectives going into a game. When you set objectives going into a game, I always recommend doing it on the mental side and the physical side. So mental performance objectives are going to involve what kind of mindset do you want to have when you compete? What do you want to be thinking about? What do you want to focus on? Your physical objectives are going to involve your technique, right? Your mechanics. What are some physical cues that you want to focus on that are going to help you perform? For your mental objectives, some examples include focusing on feeling confident while I perform today. I want to focus on repeating my self-talk routine. I want to make sure that when I'm on the bench, I'm remembering past successes. I want to focus on taking deep breaths before the game begins and whenever I'm feeling anxious during the game. So mental objectives, they're just involving some mental skills that you can use, some mental characteristics you want to focus on, and overall they involve what do you need to focus on to get you in the best mindset to perform. Now, some examples of some physical objectives are going to include staying balanced, following through on your shots, driving your knees, making sure that you keep your hands back, watching the ball hit the racket, watching the ball all the way into your glove. There are so many different physical objectives because there are so many different sports and positions. But your performance objectives are going to be dependent on your sport and your position and your role in the team. I was working with a football player. He was a wide receiver. And one of the things we worked on was giving him the objective of watching the ball all the way into his hands. Yes, it's simple, I know. But what actually happened was he increased his percentage of catches because, number one, he was focused more on actually watching the ball into his hands. But number two, he wasn't thinking so much about, oh, I can't drop this pass. I really want to catch this pass. He was focusing on what's going to actually help him do that. So for you, I really encourage you to just think about what are some very simple cues that I can focus on physically that are going to help me perform my best. And performance objectives, they're all about this idea of putting yourself in the best position to perform your best, whether that is in terms of your mindset or whether that is in terms of a physical cue. You're focusing on the thing that's going to help you perform your best. We're not saying that you don't want the outcome that you want, right? We're not saying you don't want to play well, you don't want to win. That's kind of a given, right? You're going out there to perform your best pretty much on a regular basis. But the question is, how do you actually do that? Focusing on wanting to win doesn't likely give you the best chance of winning, because a lot of times what can happen is you start to be afraid of not winning, of not performing well. So you know that you want to perform well, but what you have to do is think, what do I need to focus on to put me in the best position to perform well? And that's where performance objectives really come into play. Now, you set these performance objectives, and then you focus on them going into a game. And then what you can do after a game is do a little bit of evaluation where you tell yourself, all right, these are the things that I did well today, and then these are where I can improve. And the things that you need to improve, what you then want to do is make them part of your performance objectives as you go into practice next week or as you go into your next game. So if you say for the areas that you need to improve is that I need to improve my focus. Well, going into practice, you probably want to set the objective that you want to try to be more focused, right? You want to focus on being more focused. If you say that you need to work on your shot, well, then you need to backtrack and reverse engineer it and figure out What part of my shot do I actually need to improve? And then set that as your objective going into practice or going into your next game. That's kind of how you use performance objectives. You want to make sure that you set them before a practice or a game, and then you want to evaluate them and then to apply that evaluation to your objectives moving forward. If you have any questions about performance objectives, please leave them in the comments below. And I want to say thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're interested in learning more about one-on-one mental performance coaching, head over to successstartswithin.com.